Conservative MP was suspended this week for saying COVID vaccines is the biggest crime against humanity since the Holocaust. The Conservative Party suspended this MP for the anti-Semitism of comparing something to the Holocaust. Were his comments actually anti-Semitic, or are suspensions like this politically motivated just to make a point?
So I think on the politically motivated point, there's a scholar called David Hirsch who talks about the Livingston formulation. So Ken Livingston's formulation, which I think is similar to what that question's alluding to, is when you're accused of anti-Semitism, it's always to suggest it's a wider political plot to try and undermine their own political beliefs, which in this case isn't true. Comparing the vaccination, which has saved hundreds of thousands of lives in this country, to the biggest mass murder the planet's ever seen is absolutely outrageous, unconscionable and ridiculous. There's a point here about misinformation as well, because actually at a point where people are getting booster jabs for a member of Parliament...
Why is it ridiculous to compare something to the Holocaust?
Because it's completely inappropriate when the Holocaust is obviously a unique event and someone getting a vaccination isn't comparable to genocide. But it's also, when people are getting booster jabs, it's appropriate for a member of Parliament to stand up in the Commons and spread misinformation which has no basis in any factual reality whatsoever. And I think this individual is really dangerous as well. Andrew Bridgen, I think there's a journey of radicalisation there that he's been on, and he's been kicked out of the House of Commons for 5 days for a separate matter. And I hope that his association don't re-select him as a candidate. I think he's a dangerous individual.
Do you actually think it's ridiculous to compare anything to the Holocaust, and do you think it's anti-Semitic?
I think it's more than ridiculous. I think, now, let me see if I can explain myself well here. I don't think, per se, comparing something to the Holocaust is anti-Semitic, but I think anybody that does that has got a problem with anti-Semitism. In other words, only an anti-Semite would do that. So the actual act of saying something's like the Holocaust, I don't think you can call that an anti-Semitic act. But the only person that would do that, as same as all these Holocaust deniers, is Holocaust denial anti-Semitism? Probably per se, it's not anti-Semitism, but nobody would Well, yeah, I know. Technically, the IHR, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, says it's anti-Semitism.
Why would you deny
that? So the fact that you've denied the Holocaust, you must be an anti-Semite. Yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. It's the fact that what you're saying...
The actual definition of saying the Holocaust didn't happen is not anti-Semitism.
Well, according to the very strict definition, it is, yes. But what I'm saying is it's more a proof that the person himself is anti-Semitic, because the Holocaust is now so accepted, by all parts of society, particularly in Germany, of course, that if you deny the Holocaust, basically, you've got an agenda, and that agenda is anti-Semitism. So, now Andrew Bridgen is not denying the Holocaust by any means. He's just comparing something to it, which I think even the IHRC definition doesn't cover. But I think the Holocaust is...
Do you think times like this are politically motivated when he gets suspended, when it wasn't actually...
No, I don't think it's politically motivated. He was suspended by our own chief whip. I don't think he had a political agenda. The thing is, when you compare something to the Holocaust was so, as Nathan said, so awful and so unique that the only thing I think you could compare to the Holocaust would be other genocides, the genocides that took place with Cambodia, Rwanda, whatever it may be. So if it's another genocide, yes, that's fair. And indeed, Holocaust Memorial Day, which we're going to commemorate next week, in fact, now, commemorates all acts of genocide, and that's fine. But to compare anything else, and all sorts of people compare all sorts of things to the Holocaust, and it's ignorant. And yes, technically it's anti-Semitic. But coming back to the second point, Nathan touched on this, there's also the question of the vaccine. Now, I'm a big supporter of vaccines. I think, again, I'm not going to be political, but I think it was one of the greatest achievements of this government, and there's not too many to shout about, let's be honest, but I think one of the greatest achievements of this current government, when I say current, I mean government
not the government that keeps changing every few weeks.
Not the Prime Minister that keeps changing, but the government that that's still technically the government since 2019. One of the greatest achievements was the rollout of the vaccines.
Yes.
So there's a second point here, which, again, as Nathan said, is the vaccine denial, the Holocaust, but you've also got, and it's interesting that most of the talk on the media was about the Holocaust side of it. I didn't hear much about the vaccine side of it. I didn't hear the media saying, well, even if he'd not compared it to the Holocaust, he shouldn't be he shouldn't be criticising the vaccines. I'm not saying it's not legitimate to raise certain concerns, but it's highly irresponsible for a very senior backbench MP, been MP for a long time, who should know better. Very responsible for him. It's quite possible that a lot of people will be put off the vaccines because of him, and some may even die, and that's going to be on his head.